from Dominican Republic, and we come from the American School of Santo Domingo, and today we want to present you our proposal and project.
Before I start, I want you to have an idea of what poverty is. Poverty is the lack of money for basic needs. People who define as poor earn less than $1.90 a day. They lack the basic human needs like food, water, proper sanitation, healthcare, education, and more social services. So millions of people suffer from poverty, as we all know, and it's mainly because of the lack of education and the lack of money, which leads to crime and people begging for handouts or for things.
How does this issue affect our local context? The Dominican Republic is a country plagued by poverty, and more than a third of Dominicans live on $1.25 a day, and 20% of the population lives in extreme poverty. And with that said, poverty is a cycle, mainly with girls having to do with teenage pregnancy, where young girls believe they can't make money on their own or provide for themselves, so they get pregnant in the hopes that the father will provide for them and their children. But at the end, that just makes it worse, because 17% of those fathers abandon them after that first pregnancy, and those young mothers can't provide for their children, and they won't get a proper education or none whatsoever, and we're very much probably end up just like her. And this repeats over and over again. This will be called a vicious cycle. And that's another big one: education. The Dominican Republic has one of the worst education systems in the world. Across the country, 40% of boys and girls drop out of school before grade 8. And if they don't get the education that they need, it'll be extremely difficult for them to get out of those dire living situations. And most poverty in the Dominican Republic is concentrated in rural areas, where proper education is not taken very seriously. And also there's the issue of the government being an extremely bad influence on the people. When there's re-elections in the country, candidates will give away baskets filled with food and money. And that's just feeding a culture of waiting for something to happen or wait for someone to help you, instead of working for yourself and providing for yourself and your family. And the government giving out money deters the economy, as well as promoting poverty.
Our proposal. From our last year conference, I can say myself that we have gone a long way. We finally started the project and can put it in play with the girls. We taught them how to make the rugs that we proposed last year, which are the pellizcas, and are now currently planning a financing class, which we already taught our first lesson. Our first lesson consisted of a 6-month investment plan and how to create an initial budget.
We created a brand called Haciendo Magia to sell the girls' products. We sell them in a restaurant called Mame, in a library that is also beside it, and in different school activities like the Night of Stories or Dominican Reviews. Every opportunity we have to expand our idea. We don't want to guilt trip our selling of the products, because we want to give them their own merits. We don't want to sell them because of the bad situation that the girls might be, or because they're poor.
Our projections. Our plan is now to work on bows and pom-poms, which are easier for the girls to make. And as well as we want to expand our sales points in marketing. We are currently selling at a store called Mame, which is a library, but we also want to expand our spectrum and start an online shop, as well as are working on more structured and productive classes with the girls so we can have better results. We have alliance with different contributors like Chrissy Lorenzo and a women's financial coach, and much challenges that we face. We have 3 main challenges that we faced all this time. One of them being transportation. Due to Palmarelo being so far away and the roads rough to cross over, not many cars can take us. So we have a hard time planning and knowing when to go. Selling as well has been a rough patch for us. We do have one selling point being Mame, but when it comes to selling as well has been one of our main problems. To get income for the girls, we have to sell their product, being the rugs. But because the girls aren't professional, we can't demand them to make big and perfect rugs. And at last, the biggest challenge we've faced yet are the girls' mentality. And to be honest, you can't change or force anybody's mentality and ideals to change right away. Or you can't force them at all, but you can encourage them. But due to the girls being mostly teenagers that we work with, and them being very stubborn, it has been hard for us to eradicate and encourage them to change their ways.